Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is Tuesday, it is the podcast. I am your host, Ross Chanley, joined today by James Sutton, Errol Smith and Emma Sanders. Apologies for being late, just blame Tom in the comments, it's completely fine, don't worry about it. Lots to get through, we're going to review pre-season, talk through some of the players that have impressed us, maybe haven't impressed us, getting excited for the new season. But as is always with the podcast, we're going to do some kick-off questions. Last week, James, I misread the room mistakenly, so I've picked some better questions and Sachin Nikrani did not get involved. So we're going to start with Douglas Horn, LFC 92, who says, if you could be a villain or hero in DC or Marvel film, who would you be and why?
So I'm not really a big comic fan. I don't really understand I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm just.
You don't have to read the comics. It's in film.
Let me finish. But I'm a theatrical kind of guy. I like a bit of pomp and a bit of performance.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Penguin from the original Batman movie?
Yeah.
Now that's Danny DeVito. That's right. Now that's a performance and a villain I can get behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Evil, but with that kind of like that sort of little bit of pizzazz.
You strike me. You're not an evil man, James.
No, but villains are always the best characters. Everyone wants to play a villain in a movie.
Sure.
You'd much prefer to play a villain than a hero. No?
We'll come to my answer shortly.
What is your answer?
Let's get to the guest first while I think of sort of a villain that I want to be. Emma, you're bang into comics and the Marvel films and stuff like that. So who have you gone for?
Yeah, big time. By the way, when James was talking about Penguin, I thought he was going to bring up the, the one from Wallace and Gromit, the bad guy, the little evil penguin in that.
Oh yeah, there was a little evil penguin.
Yeah,
in that.
little evil penguin.
On the Batman film,
potentially. You'll have to ask.
Yeah, I mean it's not a comic, but we'll just go with it. This was I love this question. So I was in the shower thinking about this for like a good hour, but I've gone with Loki.
You were in the shower for an hour.
No, I exaggerated then, definitely. I've gone with Loki. Well, for one main reason of I fancy the pants off him. Also, the latest Marvel series on Disney Plus was insane. Like, just so good.
So you're not going Sylvie then? You're going classic, look like actual Loki?
Like actual, proper classic. And he's like really, really intelligent in like a really like deceiving way, which I'd love to be because I'm just like so naive and I can't lie. And he's like the best liar in the world. So I'd love to be able to like just tell a lie and absolutely nobody know that it's completely bullshit. So yeah, basically I just want to be a massive dickhead.
Well, that's me ruling him out then. I can't be him. Errol?
It would have been like dead easy to just be like, I want to be the Black Panther because like it's such a great character, boss film. But I actually thought if I'm going to like a bit like James there, everyone wants to play the villain, and I think Eric Killmonger in that film was an amazing villain. Michael B. Jordan as well. He's a boss actor, so if I could kind of pull that off, that'd be pretty sick. And I liked his motive for that film as well. Thought he had a bit of badass to him. If it was hero-wise though, DC, it'd have been The Flash. I just think to be able to run super quick and kind of like turn back time as well would have been awesome. So yeah, I'm a bit of a comic geek though, so that was a great question for me.
I've not changed my mind. I'm sticking with Iron Man.
Was it Iron Man?
Iron Man, yeah. I mean,
that's so safe.
Cool.
It's so safe, isn't it?
He's cool. So he can fly. He's got loads of money. Why would you want to be able to do those things?
So you're all about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're all about the whole package.
Yeah.
You want the house and the hot lady.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
Batman for that.
You're saying that as if it's wrong.
There's no right or wrong answer, but
you're judging me on it.
It's not the most interesting of answers.
Ross is extremely insecure right now, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, gather your thoughts.
It's just a cool person to be.
Tony
guaranteed, it's a safe answer. You're right, but is it? You just said it's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
I mean,
you can be whoever you want to be, Ross.
Well, no, I'm going to have a big think about that tonight when I go home.
You do. Take an
hour.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. I'll drown. Next question. Get us involved in the comments. Let us know who you'd be. Pick a better answer than I did. Currently, it's not clearly good enough. Owen Harding says, there's the latest YouGov poll that says Britons are less confident than Americans at fighting elephants. What's the biggest animal you could take? Now, I don't know if Tom can get this up on my screen. He should be able to do so. I know he can't because it's not plugged in. Should have thought about that before we did. There's a list James. So first of all, just have a think about what animal you think you could take. We don't condone animal violence or any violence on this show at all. But on the list, there's a rat, a house cat, a goose, a medium-sized dog, an eagle, a large dog, a chimpanzee, a king cobra, a kangaroo, a wolf, crocodile, gorilla, lion, elephant, or grizzly bear. So the first 4: rat, house cat, goose.
No,
medium dog.
You get through them.
In fact, you've all got it. I sent it you all, didn't I?
I reckon I'd batter a kangaroo.
Yeah.
Oh,
You reckon?
I reckon I could batter a kangaroo. Yeah. If it called for it. If I was like locked in a room and it was like either me or the kangaroo.
Yeah.
Then the kangaroo's going down.
Do you not think it's? Yeah. Okay.
But again, we're not condoning violence against animals.
But
I'd mess up a kangaroo.
They could kick pretty hard, James.
So can I. You're underestimating the power behind these calves. Should we move on?
You do have a personal trainer. A kangaroo doesn't have one of them, does it? There you go then. What's the biggest animal you could take?
First of all, a rat I would not be taking because I'm terrified of rats. It's like literally like my biggest phobia. I hate them. Can't stand them. So if I was in a room with a rat, then I'd be losing. But James is stripping off. He's like excited about taking on this kangaroo.
It's hot in here.
I went for the grizzly bear because I thought.
You think you could take a grizzly bear in a fight?
Listen to my rationale, right? I thought if it's just nice, big, and cuddly, a little bit like Baloo from the Jungle Book, just go and give it a big hug, make friends with it, get all pally, and then when it's all like calm and sleepy and it's chilling out, that's when I go in for the kill.
Well, you've taken this Loki thing seriously, haven't you?
Yeah, probably deceptive.
You've never watched any programs on bears, have you?
And you've also misread the fact that it says grizzly bear, not cuddly bear. It's not a teddy bear, Emma. It's a big bear.
They don't sing like they do in the Jungle Book. Like they will mess you up.
Oh, what? I thought they all sang.
No.
Got it. Well, I'll just throw it. I'll just throw it a load of fruit, and it can just pick out on the food, and I'll just come in for the kill. Look, there's loads of different ways that I can get around this.
I've never seen that on the most deadly films with Steve Backshaw as a grizzly bear. Just throwing some fruit, it'd be fine. Don't worry about it. That's not a safe advice to give to people who's coming up against a bear. Errol, can you beat a bear?
To be honest, I probably can't beat a bear, but I did spend a little bit more time thinking about this question, and I even asked you if I can take my superhero powers from the last question into this round, so I can actually compete with any of these big animals. I didn't fancy myself with any of the animals on that list, but if any of these have been in and around Liverpool city centre, you will know the ultimate predator that is out there, and it is them fucking seagulls. If I could have a scrap with a seagull, right, I am telling you, I would go toe-to-toe with one of those seagulls because they are huge, and you've got so much attitude on them. I'd love to just give it a little left-right jab combo and just see who comes out on top. And if it wasn't, a seagull, because people think, if they haven't been to Liverpool and think seagulls are really friendly and small birds, they're not. It'd be like a really slow sloth, just because I'd probably have the speed advantage against the sloth.
Yeah,
and they're quite big.
I can take a sloth. Seagull's interesting because if you combine that with Emma's, just put some ice creams out.
Yeah.
Feed it some ice creams and then.
I would love to see Errol in a street fight with a seagull.
Yeah.
Sick.
Stripped to the waist, just swinging at this seagull.
That's the next thing in YouTube boxing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yes.
exactly. We pit people against animals.
Yeah, and finally answer these questions that the people ask us. Do get involved in the comments. What do you think you could take? Someone saying Burnsy, a kangaroo would kick your ass easy. I'm not sure that's a slight on you, or he's just a big fan of kangaroos. I'm also getting a bit of stick for my pick of Iron Man. Death Boot Studio, Good Mate Dances. Iron Man is the worst pick. # sorry, Ross. All right, fine, fair enough. We're going to get into some proper chat about football pre-season reviews, who has impressed us, who has stuck out, and what it was like being back at the game last night, James, because we thoroughly enjoyed it. James has just about kept your voice.
I did some shouting.
I did not, because it wasn't allowed. But before we go to a little break, just a reminder that our Hendo 10 book is out right now. James, you've got your copy.
I've got my copy upstairs. You've just presented it to me.
Yours is in the post. Woo-woo. I've just realised that I've not got one for Errol. Errol, yours is here. So next time you're in, mate, we'll get you one. We've done a little advert, and Paul's got some more information. Here it is.
Hey everyone, our brand new book has landed. Hendo 10 Years a Red Premium Collector's Edition, the definitive Jordan Henderson collection in A4 size, 200 pages, full colour, incredible insight, in-depth knowledge and the stories of his rise from a young boy in Sunderland all the way through their academy to the Premier League, taking the captain's armband, becoming the captain, and leading Liverpool to be champions of everything and beyond as well. It's got his greatest moments season on season, some incredible, unique, phenomenal custom artwork from some of the best Liverpool artists on the scene, incredible high definition photos of his best moments as well. It is an incredible Jordan Henderson collection, and it fits right in your hands just about. It is a behemoth of a book. It is incredible, and it is available right now. You can get it, and you can learn more about the Liverpool skipper from the people who are closest to him on that journey: friends, family, coaches, players and managers. Yes, it is Hendo 10 Years of Red, and it is available right now on redmenmerch.com. Get involved.
Hello, welcome back. Yes, that is our Hendo 10 book by myself, Ben Kelly and Paul Machin. You can get that now. The standard copies are available, not pre-order, just order it and it'll be with you in a few days. Ben is signing some of the signed copies right now, and then me and Paul will get onto them. Tom will put the link in the description and in the live chat if you'd be so kind as to do so, and you can do that right now. Pre-season, James, last night, we'd done our content on the game last night, but what was it like being back inside the stadium? How did you feel? I can see by your face. I felt like a little kid the night before, and then I turned around and said to Tom at one point, I feel like a kid. I was so giddy.
I'd forgotten I'd missed it more than I thought I had, to be honest. The noise, the rush of it, the excitement levels when balls are getting played forward, and all of a sudden you've got little one-on-ones and stuff, and Minamino bombing on forward and things. There was so many times last night where I was like genuinely out of my seat, and that's what we've missed. This sort of sanitized version of the Premier League that we've all had to get used to the last 12 months without fans there. It's just not what the game is about. Jurgen Klopp references the fans all the time, and he's absolutely right to. The team play different when there's fans there. Yeah. All of a sudden everyone's got a little bit more confidence and a little bit more assurance and a bit more energy as well. Obviously we weren't there for the games without fans. But it just felt like
You've
everything.
Got that connection again, haven't you?
Yeah, it just felt like everything was kind of coming together last night, and I think you could see it on the in the players' body languages. You look at someone like Bobby Firmino last night. Who is coming for a fair amount of criticism, a lot of it rightly so in the past sort of 18 months. But last night, just playing with a smile on his face, the crowd was singing his name before kickoff.
Well, he was doing a warm up, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, and they raise their level, we raise our level. The whole thing is just this sort of symbiotic relationship that exists between the fans and the players. Just fantastic, man. I loved it.
Emma, do you think that ties in quite nicely with the fact of Liverpool getting players back and centre backs back? Because one thing I've taken from pre-season, and we'll get into that. Our kind of style of play is not only being back in the stadium was great, but through pre-season, I'm watching Liverpool I recognise, because we're able to play the way that we played 18 months ago, not last season, because of, we were playing Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, and people were just either knackered, and like James says, Bobby got a bit of stick, but I think he was just knackered. Having fans back and people like Bobby feeding off that is vital, but I think it's also vital the fact that they've had a big physical and mental rest at the same time. So it's almost like a massive reset of like last season. Forget about it. We've moved on now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that we feel that as fans, think about what that does to the players as well. If you're a player in that team and you see the likes of Van Dijk coming back in, Thiago coming back in, and Firmino scoring goals, that's normal again. So you go from last season when you've basically got to think consciously about what you're doing every second of the game, because it's you might be having to play a slightly different role to perhaps what you were doing before, or you have added responsibilities to cover somebody else, or you're playing alongside somebody who you're not used to playing alongside. So when those players are coming back in and you're kind of used to that surrounding and you're used to those players, then everything that you're doing as a player feels more normal as well, I think. And I think that's what we saw last night. It was just an expression of kind of the creativity and the fun that the players were having. And I think that comes from, yes, a bit of the fans, yes, a bit of pre-season, so the pressure's off, but then also that familiarity of having somebody like Van Dijk who look, if I make a little bit of a mistake in midfield, the best centre-back in the world is behind me. Or knowing that you got Firmino scoring ahead of you, and you think, oh yeah, if I put a ball through that perhaps isn't one that you would usually play, it's a little bit risky, then he might be able to do something with it because he's in good form. And Mane and Salah look really sharp as well because they've actually had a bit of a rest in the summer and they've had a full pre-season. So all these small things, it's only going to help in terms of confidence for the players. And if we're feeling that as fans, then the players are certainly feeling the same.
One thing that struck me last night, Errol, was something that you said on the watch along the other day, and it ties into everything that James and Emma have said there. Even the little things inside the stadium where things don't go right, there's fans there to applaud mistakes, or they're there to applaud effort, even if it doesn't come off. There were several occasions last night where we tried stuff and the pass was just 5 yards, a bit forward. But like James said, you end up applauding that. The players haven't had that inside the Reds, so when something goes wrong, it's just more pressure, more questioning what you're doing. But when you've got that belief behind you, and what was it, 40,000 fans maybe again last night, of going, oh, nice effort, lad, good try, we can see what you're doing. You pick yourself up straight away and then you kind of go again. They've not had that, have they?
No, they've just had Jürgen screaming at them from the sidelines, which is quite scary, to be fair. And I think as well, from the fans' perspective, especially like the fans that have been lucky enough to go to the games over the last couple of nights, it's probably been that appreciation for all the hard work that's been put in. Even for the last 18 months, the last season, we can kind of write it off now. We're getting ready for the new season. But just that we haven't seen these lads in the flesh for so long, all the good things that they've managed to do for us, all the memories that this team, this side's brought us over the last, the duration of Klopp's tenure. From their perspective, just being able to have that open release again and be able to just appreciate the fans and the, fans seeing the players in the flesh all over again. I think that's probably a special moment for a lot of people. I think as well there, what you're saying in terms of when things don't quite always go right or don't come off, fans aren't stupid. The lads in the ground and the girls in the ground will see it with their own eyes and know exactly what the thought process was behind the ball that was getting played in, or the tackle that's was getting made. All those little moments don't go missed in front of a live crowd. Obviously, there's no way to translate that to people when you're watching on a TV. So I think the players will have fed in off that energy as well, and I think that really gives them all something to kind of get up for, and that adrenaline kind of just becomes second nature again. I think for a lot of it, players will have probably forgot what it's like to play on a little bit of adrenaline. They're kind of playing on an autopilot, robotic mode of, it feels like a bit of an exhibition. I know where it should be. I know what I need to do. It feels a little bit too formulated. Whereas when you're playing on adrenaline, anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? We've seen some amazing moments as Liverpool fans where you just know that wasn't in the playbook, but something in that moment just sparked a little bit of inspiration, and the next minute we've scored, or the next minute we've won a free kick, or big moments and that's how we build momentum into a season. So I think it has been great, in terms of how we've structured this pre-season. I think it's been great to be able to just bring those last two games, home games, in and let the fans and the team have that kind of that new beginning and a bit of a resurgence for everybody, really.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is, James, it's going to be like, there's a lot of firsts going on. So that was last night was my first time seeing Thiago in the flesh. The first time I've seen Liverpool since we won the league. Then there's be people, lots of kids who were able to go for free yesterday and on Sunday. Their first time inside the stadium, first time back being, singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," all that stuff. And on a bigger scale, not just Liverpool specific, but that's up and down the country. I know the Championship started last week, but as a football fan, I'm happy for everyone else. Do you know what I mean? And that probably includes rivals. Like, I'm happy. I'm a football fan. I want those people to be happy. Those people have not had that escapism for 12 to 18 months. Those people that, you'll see on the cop. You're regular visitor to Anfield. You'll bump into people. They might recognise you from Redmen TV or from the TV, from TV's Hollyoaks. But you might bump into them and go, you're like, I've not seen you for 18 months. It's like that connection, not just with the football and the players. It's also with the people that go to the games as well. It's important, isn't it?
It's the whole package. It's we're obsessive. It's what we what we live for. It just is, and it's everything. It's going to home bakes and getting a pie before the game. It's going to the Sandon or going to your favourite boozer. It's your routine. It's seeing your mates. It's putting your match day clobber on and getting it's everything surrounding it. It's why we do all this. It's why we sit and talk about it, because we're fucking obsessed with it. And last night was incredible. I mean, there's so many positives to take from this season, this pre-season. Errol's right. There's individual stories. There's the formula that's getting put across. There's young players coming through, new players. I watched Canate last night, absolute monster, incredible.
If he says it's Thursday, isn't it?
You ain't arguing. Yeah, absolutely, you ain't arguing. Simicast, who we've been excited about for such a long time, and he's never had that opportunity. All of a sudden, we've got an injury, which is obviously devastating for Robbo. All of a sudden, we've got a player seizing his opportunity. I thought he was fantastic last night.
Yeah, but let's go through the overall thoughts then, because I think you're right. I'm in a lot better place than I was 3 weeks ago.
Oh, massively.
Before pre-season started. But just your overall thoughts on pre-season. We'll go into specifics of players and standout performers in a second. Results, I think you can always go, well, it's just pre-season, it's irrelevant. If you win them all, you kind of got to go and win the league. But just kind of following on from you saying there, of just seeing Liverpool play the way that Liverpool players I mentioned before, and you look at the options, and there was always question marks over squad depth. We were able to play two sides over 2 days. And for me, the biggest take from that was we're still playing the same way, no matter who you put in there. Because I was a bit gutted on Sunday night. I was like, I won't get to see Virgil van Dijk play, and I won't get to see this. And I was like, but I'll get to see Canate, I'll get to see Joe Gomez, I'll get to see Fabinho, I get to see Bobby. And I was like, oh, actually, I'm not saying we don't need any signs before you all start in the comments. I'm not saying that at all, because I believe that we do. But on the face of it, you take it away and you go, oh, well, actually, we're actually in decent shape.
That's the biggest thing for me that I've taken from this pre-season is the attitude that I had going into pre-season. I think all of us, on some level, were worried about squad depth. We were worried about the drop-off from sort of the starting kind of 15 players onwards was, looked on the surface could be, quite weak. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of names there that you go, fucking hell, I don't want to be relying on him. But all of a sudden, we're in a position where you've got players like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's decided, actually, I'm not just going to go out with a whimper, because he's not got another Liverpool contract in him. But he's gone, I'm going to seize this. I'm going to absolutely be part of this.
Last night.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. Minamino, another one, coming back, could have just sort of faded into the background. It's gone, no, actually, I'm not having that. I'm going to be part of this squad. It's great. It's great to see.
Yeah, we have to caveat this. And I know what you mean, but the people in the comments won't have. We know it's pre-season, we know it was Osasuna, we know it was Athletic Bilbao, but you have to take the attitude from it. I think you're spot
Absolutely.
on. And the way that they're kind of pumped up for it. Emma, like to Oxlade-Chamberlain, James is right. There's him and I've put several others in the same category. And Naby Keita, Taki Minamino, you said there as well. There was question marks over these players, and again, I think it goes missing. They were fit for large parts at the end of last season. Klopp just chose not to play them and took a risk, basically. So I was frustrated with them of going, well, you're on the bench, why are you not playing? We mustn't be fit. Or they were on the bench and they went on the bench, and again, it's just like you're angry because you're angry about everything else. You're angry about the results, the performances, not having centre-backs, not being inside the stadium. Football was just crap last season. But you can tell, as James says there, you can tell Chamberlain's had some rest, a proper pre-season. His pre-season's been about 5 months, if we're being serious, and he needed that, as did Naby Keita. So all the question marks will be, it's great that Chamberlain's put in a great performance over a period of time. It's great that Keita's done it, and I'm fully backing on him we'll get on to him shortly. But there's always that doubt in your mind that they might not be fit for Norwich. But on the evidence that we've seen in pre-season, if we just talk about pre-season, they've all been brilliant.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the question of the squad depth, I never had any concerns over the quality in terms of when we're talking specifically about the midfield depth. I always thought, Keita and Ox were brilliant options to add to, obviously, Fabinho, Thiago and Henderson, and obviously Milner's in that mix as well, and Curtis Jones. But it was that question mark over how fit they're going to be. Are they going to be able to remain injury-free? That concern for me still hasn't gone. And I think that's all that I would say is, while the pre-season has shown that they're definitely fit in this moment in time, and they've proven that they have got that quality and they have got that match sharpness when they're given an opportunity, it's still the worry for me is how long they can sustain that. I think the fact that Ox looked so energetic yesterday and so eager to impress, I think was a bit of a bonus, because I think he's probably the one out of all of those fringe players that has already proven his quality in the past, to such a high level. Like, you think before we got that big injury, he was absolutely on fire. He was arguably Liverpool's best midfielder, I'd say, ahead of probably Henderson and Fabinho at the time. You look at the performances he put in against Manchester City, and I think he was just on cloud nine, and the timing of his injury was awful. So to see him in such good shape, not just physically but also technically, I think was really, really pleasing for me last night in particular. But and I'm sure we'll get onto this later, but I think the main thing for me was I was really concerned about the squad depth in the fullback positions. And we've seen that's something that I've taken from pre-seasons, that we've seen, Owen Beck step up, and he's looked like, a kid who's pretty comfortable playing alongside men. And then we've seen, Tsimikas absolutely come in and take his opportunity. So I just hope that they can carry that confidence and carry those performances into the season, because, look, they're not an Andy Robertson. They're not going to be. He's the best left back in the world, certainly one of them. But the fact that they can come in and slot in quite seamlessly alongside, the defenders that are already in that back four, I think is a real positive for me.
Yeah, but let's just stick with Tsimikas there, Errol, because, I know what James mentioned it before and I was talking about there. I saw a tweet from Adam Rowe last night, and he kind of said, Robbo's injury was a massive blow, but had this been 6 months ago, 12 months ago, it would have been an even bigger blow, because we didn't have Tsimikas to fall on. We've got a small segment of evidence what Tsimikas is capable of and what he can do. Gets himself a lovely assist last night. I think he's impressed me, to be fair, over the past week or so. But even him, I think he was probably the same as Ox Keita. We didn't see him play. Even Klopp said, well, I'm changing centre-backs twice a week, 3 times a week. I'm not then changing my full-backs. So even so Robertson was running to the ground last season, everyone's perception was like, well, Tsimikas must be crap then, because he's not being picked and he's not playing. Klopp's like, I'm just not playing him because it would be stupid to do so. Now he's there, and we've got that evidence of him playing well and what he's capable of doing. I'm more confident with him starting Norwich, or probably the first 3-4 games of the season, because he's fit into the squad. He's got a pre-season under his belt. He's probably got more confidence. He's not had COVID, or he's playing with lads that are proper centre backs that play the way that we want to play, so he can play the way that he wants to play.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think the biggest thing in a perfect season from the likes of Jurgen Klopp is, even the best players will take time to assimilate into his squad and the way that he wants them to play. And, we've had examples in the past where he's taken time to bring people in slowly and not just throw them into the first team. And then you look at the likes of Andy Robertson, the season that he comes, he doesn't start straight away for us. But what actually does happen is Moreno gets an injury, and Andy Robertson, we just look to the bench and we're like, right, well, we've got to throw Robbo on now. This kid, he's going to either sink or swim. And everybody knows he's been swimming ever since. And it could be the same sort of thing for Tsimikas. I'm not saying that he's going to permanently dislodge Robinson, because the levels that Robbo plays at. But if this guy can come in now with a little bit of confidence, he's more used to the players that he's got around him, as you said there, Ross. He's going to have Virgil van Dijk or Konate next to him, kind of telling him exactly where he needs to be, when he should be bombing forward, when he should be dropping back. All those things are going to play a big part in how comfortable he feels. And I think in terms of the fans now, he's had a whole season with us. So even if we didn't get to see his qualities, the backroom staff, Jurgen Klopp, know his qualities. They know his game. The lads playing in front of him will know what he's able to deliver and what opportunities he can present to those players as well. So I think there's no good time to get an injury like that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, from the news from Robbo, it looks as if it is going to be ligament damage, so it will be a couple of weeks. But it's a good opportunity for him, because it's not getting thrust in the middle part of the season or the back end when everything's riding on a strong finish or anything like that. It's about building that momentum, and if he can help us start to build that momentum and get us on a good trajectory, Robertson can kind of just come back in and just kick us on with a full strength squad at that point. It bodes well, because in those Champions League games, as we've said before, we'll have to manage Robbo's minutes this season anyway. So there'll be opportunities to bring this lad in, and he'll have more opportunities to show what he's capable of, and hopefully he'll feel more a part of this squad the longer the season goes on. So it's a good time for him on a personal level, but it's a big opportunity for him. I just hope he grabs it with both hands, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah. Is there an argument, James, to say that last night was bigger for Tsimikas than everyone else in that squad, based on what we're kind of talking about here? Because everything Errol said there is spot on, but Tsimikas hasn't really played in front of a Liverpool crowd before, so for him to play a game, get an assist, as I mentioned before, play really well, to get those cheers and stuff we were talking about, he's gained confidence, and we were talking about our connection back with the players. For the first time last night, he's had a connection with the I know it was 2,000 or 4,000 at Wolves or whatever it was, but we're nearly full house at Anfield. That's massive for him, because there's pressure on him now, isn't there?
Yeah, and Errol's absolutely right, and he'll feel 10 feet tall. Yeah, walking away last night. He didn't put a foot wrong. He's bombing forward. He's taking players on. His assist was great, by the way, as well. Really, really clever. Some really, really clever passes. He's pressing. He looks full of energy. He looks full of confidence, and that's what that's what we need. It's what we want when people have these opportunities. Because again, Errol's right. It's not an ideal situation. Andy Robbo is one of the best left backs in the world, and is a starter. But my God, I mean, this could be something really, really special with Tsimikas.
12 months ago, we were having this conversation. You going, maybe put James Milner in there, Joe Gomez do a job if he's fit, and now it's just like, oh, it's fine, we'll just put this lad in we've had for 12 months in the side. James, I'm going to stick with you. I want to know who your standout performers are across the pre-season friendlies. You can name as many as you like.
As many as I like.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can name one, we'll talk about one, then we'll move on to the next one.
Okay, I loved seeing Fabinho last night.
Okay.
I absolutely loved. They call him the lighthouse for a reason. He's just head and shoulders for me one of the best midfielders in the world. And he's just fantastic. The calmness, the assurance that he brings to the whole squad. I think he's been fantastic. But I can't get away from mentioning Harvey Elliott. I mean, just what a kid!
Yeah.
What a player we've got on our hands, and that loan situation, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work out well, sending players to to championship clubs and stuff. But by God, it's worked out well, and he just fits in effortlessly. And there's going to be so many cup games. There's going to be so many opportunities for him this season. What an option to have, on an hour 70-minute mark to bring someone like that on and go. You know what? Just go and do a load of mad shit. Just go and do a load of mad Harvey Elliott shit.
They're direct.
Do you know what I mean?
Because that's what Jurgen's saying.
But he plays like he plays street football.
Yeah.
With a pair of rolled up socks.
Yeah.
He's got his head up. He doesn't give a shit who he's coming up against.
And again, he's a kid.
And he's a kid.
Yeah.
And he's ours. Yeah. I mean, I can't not mention that.
I think that's hard to disagree with them. I think one thing that sticks out for me is his attitude. James is right. He doesn't look out of place. I think our style of play is suiting us a little bit. Last season our problem was not committing bodies forward. Now we know we've got the players to be able to go and do that, but I'm seeing Harvey Elliott get himself into the box. He's taking on shots. On Sunday night, my God, if he'd scored that goal, we're eulogising about him a little bit more. But he tried it a few times. But again, Liverpool, everyone was screaming out for a creative midfielder or basically just having Coutinho back. And everyone's frustration was we don't have anyone who can shoot from outside the box. Again, he's 18. He's not like, oh my God, I'm with Mo Salah, I'm with Sadio Mane. Like I'm not confident. He's like, I'm Harvey Elliott, and I'm going to go and do this. And not only that, his role is predominantly on the right hand side, which is Salah's space. He's coming in here and we're working at some game time. And he said in a post-match interview, well, there was some space in the middle, and he went, I'll play wherever you want. I absolutely love that, because there's so many people where you get caught up and you think, oh, he's a kid, he's got all this hype, is he going to be another Harry Wilson, he's going to be another Ben Woodburn, he's going to be this, going to be that, and he's clearly not.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Harvey Elliott is that we forget that he's already got loads of experience as well, obviously coming through at Fulham, so he knows what it takes to play in the Premier League already. He doesn't really need loads of game time. He's obviously gone out on loan to Blackburn and was excellent there. I think, was it 41 out of 46 games or something he played there? It was in the 40 games. So he's proven at Fulham he can do it, and he was a 16-year-old. He's come through the ranks there and broken into the first team. He's gone out on loan somewhere else and been one of their key players. If you speak to any Blackburn fan, they'll say that he was like arguably their best player last season. They were desperate for him back, and he's proven it at Liverpool already at such a young age. So he's got bags of confidence clearly, but I don't think he's got any arrogance in him, which is what's really impressive, because he still listens to those around him, and he's still very, he comes across as very assured, but also very humble. And I think that's really important, because having that mentality allows him to go and do what he does on the pitch, because he doesn't have anyone reining him in, because they know that he's already got his feet on the ground, if that makes sense. They don't have to say, don't be trying these stupid tricks, etc., because they know that he believes it in himself, but he also knows that he's got to do the hard work as well. And he shows that on match days, because he's tracking back, he's chasing balls, he's doing all the hard stuff as well as having the fun on the pitch. But I mean, I wasn't surprised that he stood out in pre-season, to be honest with you. I just, we've seen it before. We know how good he was going to be. For me, the youngster who kind of surprised me was not surprised, but I guess I don't get to watch as much academy football these days as I'd like to. And it was Leighton Clarkson who really stood out for me as kind of the young player who just seemed to take his opportunity. They were raving about him on LFC TV comms yesterday about his range of passing, and I couldn't agree more. I just think, Harvey Elliott was doing what we all know Harvey Elliott can do. But I think Leighton Clarkson came in and really did put in a performance. I think there was one point where he had Thiago and Henderson with him in midfield, and he was the one running the show, which I think says it all, really. But yeah, just the fact Liverpool have got these kids that have got so much confidence and belief in themselves, I think is just really, really good.
Yeah, just sticking with Harvey Elliott there, Errol. I think James is right. My big concern for me last season was looking at the bench and going, what have we got? and it was like Origa, Shaqiri, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and they come on, and to be fair, they're just a bit crap. In all honesty, but I don't necessarily think that's just their fault. I think it's really hard for them to come in and try and fit in. But Harvey Elliott's really interesting because I think we've seen him in a role in midfield, which I think is dead interesting. But I think for the last 10 minutes of Sunday's game, he played right wing. So Salah moved into the middle, and you're thinking, well, okay, there's another option that's kind of just opened up that I wasn't aware of. And again, I know it's pre-season, I have to caveat that with, it's one thing doing it there, but it's also separate, a big challenge for him, trying to do it in Premier League. He tore up the Championship, was completely fine. I've got faith that he can do it in Premier League games, but it will be a big challenge for him, and it is completely different playing Osasuna or wherever else, and then playing likes of, I don't think he'll do this, but a Chelsea or something like that in the leagues is different, isn't it?
100%, and I think that no discredit to Origi or Shaqiri. I think there's twofold really with them. They've been in the Prem that long now. Other teams know what they've got in their locker. So when you bring them off the bench, it's not a fear factor. Teams aren't shook of Shaqiri because they just, he's got a wand of a left foot, so just don't give away stupid free kicks around the box. Otherwise, that's an opportunity. They don't, and then the other thing is they don't naturally fit into the style of the way that we play. Whereas we kind of got to work around them to their strengths if we want to get the best out of them, which we're not really willing to do, especially when you're just rolling the dice with 20, 30 minutes left to go. Whereas Harvey Elliott, as you were saying there, Ross, he's that perfect guy that you can just say, right, so that you move into the centre, Harvey, you go onto that right wing and do what you do well there. And the beauty of it is he's going to be I think he is going to be a bit of a secret weapon for us this season because teams don't know what to expect from him. They know he's a kid with a lot of talent, but they're probably going to underestimate how good he actually is. I think he's probably going to be one for those low block teams where we might struggle to break them down or create something. He's not scared to drive at two defenders and say, well, come on then, who's going to keep up with me? Do you know what I mean? Like, let's have it. And that type of attitude when like you've been getting run ragged by Mane and Salah all game. As soon as you bring his fresh legs on and, he's got an eye for a pass, he has got a great shot on him. I know when we seen him on Sunday night, Ross, in the match, it was very unlucky that he didn't score and get top ins with that opportunity, that shot he'd had. But I'm thinking to myself, this kid is going to have so many defenders on roast because they just don't know what he's going to do next. And I think that element of surprise has been missing from this Liverpool squad as a whole, probably for at least 12 months now. And I know, again, we keep saying, we want to rule out last season, but it's hard to forget sometimes last season we looked a little bit stale. Even the lads that we relied so heavily on in the past, everybody knows when Mo's going to cut in. Everybody knows when Mane's going to stand up a man and try and drop his shoulder and run past them. And don't get me wrong, they can still do it and defenders still get caught out by it. But just having this complete anomaly of a player where we know he's got bags of talent, other teams will know he's got talent but probably underestimate how much talent, and they just won't know what he's going to do next, is exciting for everybody. And I think it's a positive secret weapon that we can hopefully use quite consistently next year or this season.
And as Emma said there, he played 41 games last season, so he doesn't get injured. So that's a safe bet. So if he does get injured, tweet at @_msandy. Give it. Sorry, Emma. James, did anyone surprise you apart from Harvey Elliott? Anyone that you maybe written off or you...
Who could you possibly be talking about, Ross?
I don't know. Yeah, could be a number of people. That
a fully fit Naby Keita is still an incredible player. He's been spoken about to death on so many different platforms and so many channels and so many parts of the media. This kid who has so much potential. Jurgen Klopp believes him and backs him 100% and always has done. But for us fans, we've just never. He's never quite got there. He's never quite reached the consistency levels and starting matches and finishing matches. There's the famous example. When he gets dragged off in the first half, doesn't he?
Villa or Real Madrid?
Well, I was thinking Real Madrid, but yeah, Villa as well. And all of a sudden we've got a Naby Keita that's firing on all cylinders. We've got an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain firing on all cylinders. A fully fit Thiago. All of a sudden our midfield is looking really, really sexy, and it's really, really exciting. So that's been the biggest pleasant surprise for me, I think.
I'll stick with you, James, because has that changed your mind? This is a bit of a loaded question. It's not a loaded question.
Go on.
Just in terms of transfers, because the big concern, and you're right, with the Keita chat and the Ox chat was like, well, if they get injured, who have we got? We haven't replaced Gini Wijnaldum. And again, just on evidence of pre-season, has that... I'm not saying we don't need anyone, but has it eased some of your fears of needing a midfielder in it?
I think it's right. It's right to say it's eased. I think it's eased a lot of people's fears, mine included. I'd still like us to get somebody in. I still think we probably will get somebody in. I can't imagine a world where we don't, based purely on the fact that we know a lot of our players. Emma mentions it earlier. A lot of our players do have injury problems. They are, people have said Naby Keita's made of crisps before. I mean, it was me. I've said that. But I want to get proved wrong. You know what I mean? I want these players to find that level of consistency and to not get injured and to be players that we can rely on and bring on and come on and terrorise teams. And we haven't had that from a lot of our lads going forward. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they stay fit. We're in a wonderful position, and we get maybe we get a midfielder in, maybe we get one more attacker in. I think we'd be happy with either, wouldn't we?
Oh, both. Both.
Greedy boy.
I am. Don't get this telly. You're not being greedy. I'm just going to stick with Naby Keita on you because I think it is really interesting. Similar to Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's been fit for quite a while. Some of that frustration obviously comes from, again, the whole of last season just being a bit crap, and you have that anger to try and direct towards someone. I think those examples that James is talking about of Aston Villa, Real Madrid, I think he was a bit crap in both of them, but I also think he was a bit of a scapegoat because you could list a number of people that should have been taken off in both those games. Unfortunately, it was just Naby Keita wasn't working. So, but also, he's had this massive chunk of pre-season, like Oxlade-Chamberlain. There was times where he went away with Guinea. In fact, I think it was twice, and he shouldn't have done because he was trying to recover or he was injured and he kept getting all these little niggles, little injuries. He was probably thrown into games where we didn't have a choice, and he kind of gets injured again. For him, this is the last throw of the dice, isn't it? I think he's got till 2023. I think he's the same as Chamberlain. I can't, as it stands now, can't see him getting offered another contract. But as James rightly put, we've got competition in the midfield. So for a lot of these people, it's sink or swim. You play for Liverpool, you fight for your spot, you fight for a new contract, or ultimately, if you're not good enough, then we're not going to offer you a new contract.
Yeah, and I also think the type of player that he is, he kind of we see him as one who's quite creative. He's perhaps a little bit more riskier than some of our other midfielders on the ball, but also his work off the ball in terms of his pressing. He needs to do that as part of a unit. And I think last season with the disruption, obviously, to the midfield, which we all know about, obviously with Fabinho and Henderson often dropping into centre back, the unit probably wasn't quite there. And I think that meant that Keita couldn't really be as effective as perhaps what he can be for us this season. So I think the fact that he's been able to show that in pre-season around that, more solid unit, and the fact that, perhaps Mane and Salah have looked a little bit sharper as well, just that bit of rest, that added energy that they've had coming into the start of the new season, I think will help Naby Keita as well. So I think all these small things have come together. Like you say, he's had a little bit of a prolonged period where he's not had an injury. He's been able to gain a little bit of consistency. So I think all of that is obviously going to be really beneficial for him and also to Liverpool as well, because the fact that there are those options, hopefully there won't be that one scapegoat. Last season was absolutely screaming out for somebody who was going to be creative and who was going to break the lines and break down these teams and add a little bit more energy. And he was coming on, and you were thinking, oh, this is the guy. He's, we spent the money on him because he's a little bit different to the other midfielders we've got. He's the creative one. And he didn't deliver. And like I say, I think that is because he wasn't part of that overall unit. So hopefully this season, when the pressure is off him a little bit more, it isn't all on him to, create the goal-scoring opportunities you'd like to think. Hopefully he can, just relax into it a bit more and show what he's capable of.
I've said this for ages. Everyone's been screaming out for a creative midfielder, and we've had two of them. Just been injured for ages. It's dead frustrating. Errol, we'll stick with you. I know you've only really seen the last two games, but anyone stuck out for you that's not been mentioned so far? I'm kind of edging towards probably Taki Minamino on this, but if there's anyone else you think is worthy of a conversation that's stuck out for you?
Well, do you know what? I we'll go with the forwards there that you obviously Taki that you just mentioned, but I was going to say the Jota situation with Firmino. Then it was interesting when we watched the game on Sunday. It was like, all right, Jota now he's got to kind of make a stake and a claim for the Norwich game. Firmino's probably not had as much training time with the lads. He's had a longer holiday. He's only just coming back. All of those things getting factored in. You're thinking, well, if Jota performs now, he gets an output, he scores a goal, he's got to be in good stead for starting a Norwich game. You know, hold my beer. Firmino comes on and just bags a brace the next day. So it's just like, it's that little bit of like, that's what's impressing me. It's like, you know what, they're the little opportunities, and they're the little moments really where the players are saying, well, you know, I see your hand there and I'm going to raise you with this. And that little bit of competition is what we've craved so much, especially in that forward line, because we said it before, you know, I know that we think creativity comes from that midfield and that part of the game, but the guys up front last season looked a little bit toothless, and it was like, well, all right, I'm not playing the best, but you've got no other option but to play me, because you're not going to put Origi on in a big game, and you're not going to put Shaqiri on ahead of Mane or Salah or anything like that. So they knew they were safe. Whereas at the moment now, you've got Jota breathing down the neck of Firmino. Firmino's now like, right, if he's going to be doing that, I've got to be doing a little bit more. And then you've got this other lad in Taki that's been like, well, I'm your forgotten man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was running circles around you when we played in the Champions League, like your defence for fun. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more like that Taki that we've seen over those 2 matches. And I think for him and his perspective, it's making sure that, again, it was adjusting to the demands of the Premier League, the physicality of it. Even that loan for him, I know he had a bit of an injury spell, but he got off to a flyer when he went down to Southampton. I think he has got talent. It's just, again, having another little bit of an Arsenal where players and other teams don't know what to expect from our forward line. They don't know what's going to come next. They don't know where we're going to be able to hurt them, but having options to hurt them with every single player. And I think, you know, pushing each other on, that vying for competition is healthy in my eyes. You know what I mean? The more competition we've got up front, the better, because as soon as Firmino is having a bit of a bum day or an off day, then maybe you do turn to the bench and take Jota or Taki. You guys go on and show us what you can do. You know, I'm quite confident now. You could go into certain games. You've got Taki, you've got Harvey Elliott, and you've got Jota there as a forward 3, and all of them have proved in this pre-season that they're all capable of playing that style that we want to play, which is, I think, is the most important thing for the substitutes or the people that we replace our traditional front 3 with.
Yeah, and also I think with Taki, James, he's like Errol saying there, he's being managed, he's not being relied upon. So again, that frustration of, well, the front 3 aren't firing, who's the options? Oh, it's just Taki. Whereas now you can say, well, it's 20 minutes, we're 3-0 up or whatever, you can kind of bring him on. But I think Errol's right, the big take from pre-season is squad depth, healthy competitiveness, but I think also the morale in that camp looks amazing. And like I know some of it's kind of like propaganda, or, you know, like, does you see it through red tinted glasses? But we were talking, I was talking to Matt Lasson last night about, you know, the table tennis stuff, and it's like they were mixing the like non-playing staff with playing staff, and I think they just said Mo Salah's won the table tennis and poor Matt McCann's just kind of stood there, just like kind of been shoved out of it. But they're mixing each other together. Manny's come out and said, like, listen, I was made up to see Virgil in training again because like I can play with my mates. I'm not saying Nat Phillips isn't his mate, but like Manny can play the way he wants to play. We're seeing long balls being played over the top last night from Canate, Matip. We said it with Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. That really wasn't Reece Williams and Nat Phillips' game. Their initial thing has come in, and when they were being trained up, while we had Fabinho and Henderson, defence was just fucking learn how to play, just to learn how to defend, learn how to play the high line, just to do the basics. Whereas now, the knock-on effect, the domino effect of him doing that, navigating, go behind and go, well, I can take a risk, like Emma said before, because I've got proper Premier League world-class defenders behind me. It's amazing. That's
exactly it. I don't think it can be underestimated the impact of losing all of our centre backs last season had on the entire team, entire squad. You know, you couple that with no fans in the stadiums. I mean, just a really miserable. They all looked pretty fucking miserable, quite frankly. Yeah. And I'm not at all surprised, because like you're right, just, you know, the pressure that those lads are under. All of a sudden, you're being asked to do jobs that you're not used to. Yeah. Everyone's playing out of position. Everybody's playing with more stress. Everyone looked like they had the weight of the world on their shoulders last season.
If you went into work and they went, well, it's a bit difficult with acting, but they went, oh, sorry, the producer's not here, or, you know, the script writer's not here, and whatever else. Oh, James, can you just do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they're not here in 3 weeks. You go, fucking hell, man, I'm knackered.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it came across, and you know, for us to get into the top 4 like we did, and to kind of draw a line under it and go, right, we're getting everyone back, we're getting everyone fit, everyone's got opportunities, there's games for everybody. All these young lads, you know, you've got opportunities, you come back into the fold. It's such an exciting time, man. Honestly, I'm absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to get back.
The other person that stuck out for me, we'll talk about briefly, is Kate Gordon. Like, He's literally a child playing football. But again, everything you said about Harvey Elliott, and I know it's only brief, and again, I know it's only pre-season, but like he has no fear at all. You know,
none of them do.
No, there was. Did we play? Was it when we were never on last Thursday? Bologna, sorry, one of the games. This guy defender was 6 foot something, and he just ran rings around him. I was like, see you later. When I was playing football, I was 16. I didn't play 17-year-olds. Never mind someone who's a seasoned pro. But I think that ties into the environment that Liverpool are creating and are able to create. James, I'll stick with you on this. Because they've got that happy camp, because they've got all the players back, because they can afford to probably take risks with the likes of Kay Gordon. We might have seen more of him last season, in fits and starts in cup games or on the bench or, Champions League aways maybe, or just take him on the tour, see what it's kind of like. But to implement that into pre-season means that we might see him for a Carabao Cup game this season, and again he's still a child. It all comes
from the manager. It all comes from Jurgen Klopp. The confidence that he instills in these lads, the belief in them. None of, like you say, none of them look out of place. They all look 10 foot tall. They're loads of energy, taking on players, tackling, tracking back, pressing, everything that we want to see from a Jurgen Klopp side. We're already seeing from players who are 16, 17, 18 years of age. And for all the there's been a lot of talk about the age of our first team. A lot of them are pushing 30, 31, 32. We
Which
know
is
that
dead in football terms. You said 30, you're dead.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But for all that talk, I don't think the transition's going to be as difficult as we perhaps think it is from the outside. There's a lot of these lads are going to get opportunities to stake their claim. And in 2-3 years' time, players like Gordon, players like Harvey Elliott, all of a sudden they're in our starting 11 and competing and pushing everybody else on. It's a really exciting time, isn't it?
Gordon, Mbappe, and Elliott up top.
Don't say Mbappe. Don't use that word.
Why?
Why? Because then we all get really excited and it doesn't happen again. Come on.
I was talking about
We're talking about our young lads and you're dropping the Mbappe bomb.
Yeah, but I'm on FIFA in a minute.
Ross.
Okay. The other beauty, Emma, of this pre-season, kind of what's happened, is the fact that we can have these conversations again, and we'll do the build-up show later on this week, and we'll do the starting 11 show later on this week as well. But the fact that for the first time in months, instead of going who's fit, like which player out of the starting 11 will be playing centre back this week? Are you playing centre back this week? All those jokes can stop and Phillips is injured. Oh, I'm next on the list. Like that can all get in the bin now. We can have the conversation. So for me, like against Norwich, let's have that conversation right now. Again, we'll do the 2 shows later on in the week. So have a little think. Errol, you have a little think while I put Emma on the spot. For me, there's a couple of nailed on starters. You're talking Alisson, Trent, Fabinho, Mane, Salah, and for me, the rest of it is up for debate, but I don't think there's currently a wrong answer.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been thinking about this over the last couple of days. I have actually got my starting 11.
That's good.
And I agree. I think with all of those names that you said. I'd go Alisson, Trent, probably Canate, and I probably would start Virgil actually. Tsimikas left back. And then Fabinho, I'd go Ox and Keita. And then my screen just went blank then. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, because you're frozen. Yeah.
And then...
The internet didn't like you saying Ox and Keita midfield. They just decided to stop working.
And then, Mane, Salah, and I'd probably start with... This is the hardest one. It's whether or not it's Bobby or Jota. I'd probably go with Jota just because he's had that, extra week or 2 in training. But I think for me,
did you not see Roberto Firmino last night, Emma?
Well, Bobby is my favourite player, so I'd have him straight back in after Norwich. To be honest with you, I don't think I agree with a lot of Errol said earlier about Jota sort of providing that competition. But Firmino for me is still the starting. He's still the starting player. But yeah, just for this first game, I'd probably put Jota in.
Cool. Get yours in the comments as well while we're going along. I might read some of them out towards the end. We're nearly done now. Errol, any disagreements? Anyone that you'd change out of Emma's side there?
No. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't risk Virg, not for Norwich anyway. Off the top of my head, do we play Chelsea early doors as well? Is that like
so we've got Norwich, Burnley, Chelsea.
Yeah, I'd probably be, if he's ready, that'd probably be the game. Just so the Chelsea lads automatically think, bloody hell, like he's back.
But he doesn't have to play full 90, does he? Like, I certainly wouldn't play him for the full 90. I'd just probably play him for
Can't change your mind now, Emma. Your time's gone. You're on Errol now.
What's your answer then? No, I get that, and I fully understand that, but I think I'm just not convinced, or I'm maybe just a little bit more apprehensive of just throwing him straight back in. You know, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know how match fit he is. He looks good. He did look knackered coming off when we seen him the other day, Ross. I just, if we've got Konate and we've got Matip, I'm thinking get the most out of Matip while he's fit. We've still got plenty of time to rebed back in Virgil van Dijk, and we know the quality he's going to bring as and when we do. But what games are more crucial than us being able to do that? Can Matip and can Konate usher a back line against Norwich? I'm fairly confident that they probably can. Likewise, again, you know, you're going to go with Trent and you're going to go with, I'd say, Timocas. I think he deserves it. Throw him in the deep end now. You know, you've had a year and people haven't been able to see it. Show us what you've got, lads. You know, baptism of fire. There's a big opportunity for you there. In terms of that midfield, yeah, if we can get Fabinho straight in there, fantastic. Again, get the most out of the Ox, like Emma said there, the Ox and Keita, while they're both fit and firing, get the most out of them then. And I would probably go Jota, not because I don't think Firmino's ready, but again, it's nice now that we can bring a world-class forward on from the bench. Yeah. That if the game's not going our way, or if we do need a goal, or if we do need something, that injection of what Bobby Firmino brings to this squad for the last 35 minutes, half an hour, you know, will be crucial. So go in, use all of our tools early doors and manage these players properly. And I don't see why we have to risk some of the big guns just yet. You know, we're not going to risk Henderson. We're not going to risk Thiago. I don't see why we need to risk Virgil in that respect. So yeah, that would probably be my 11, obviously with the normal wingers.
Hard to disagree with that. I 100% would not be playing Virgil van Dijk against Burnley. I don't want Chris Wood and whatever else, the other members of the EDL dragging themselves and bolted into Virgil van Dijk and injuring himself again. Do you agree with Errol and Emma?
Yeah, completely. Literally everything. I was just nodding along to everything. I think the conversation about Jota and Firmino, I think is quite interesting. But either way, it's a lovely problem to have, and I don't think anyone would disagree if Bobby kept his place. Arguably, you know, Jota comes in. You know, what a brilliant position to be in.
Takis, as someone says in the comments here, someone's gone for Ali, Trent, Konate, Joel, Greek Scouser, Fab, Keita, Ox, Salah, Minamino, Mane. And it's just like, this is the beauty of it. This is why I'm getting excited, because you just go, all right, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't start Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'd go for Harvey Elliott. Yeah, Sam, mate, that's completely fine. But to Errol's point there, just to finish off, you know, I said my main issue with last season was looking at the bench. So if you're going off, you know, the side that he's kind of picked, well, you still got Taki, Elliott, Virgil van Dijk on the bench, Thiago, Henderson, and you suddenly go, oh my god, yeah. And then, you know, when we sell Shaqiri, you know, I think he's rumoured to be close to a move, and hopefully, or he can be moved on as well, because his time is up, and we bring in some more quality players. So you go, oh my god. Sorry
to interrupt, Ross, but speaking of movement, Messi has just agreed a deal to join PSG.
Breaking news.
On a free transfer.
I know, but they're building a hell of a squad there, aren't they now?
They are. Lots of free transfers.
I know, but it's madness. It's madness down there.
It's only going to be on a massive wage, Messi. So I think to counter that, they're going to have to offload
up to like
maybe someone who's on a decent wage, James.
Don't drop the M-bomb again.
Didn't.
It was on the tip of your tongue.
I was talking about Icardi.
That's a good show.
He's going to be happy.
Icardi 2022.
Yeah, there we go then. Let's you heard it first.
Just when I'm out, they drag me back.
Now you mentioned the M word, so this is on you. We've ended the show, and James is dropping M bombs that we didn't want to talk about. Thanks, James. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much. Do keep your start 11s coming. Let us know your thoughts on pre-season. Who impressed you? I did have a question of who didn't impress, but I'm not going to start that now because James just started eating a biscuit, so we'll probably just leave the show there. You enjoy that chocolate hobnob?
They've been sat there for what?
We've done quite well not to eat them.
Over an hour.
Well, they've been sat there since last night probably, but yeah, for us an hour. Your personal trainer will not be happy with you.
He's not here, is he?
Good point. Right, listen, thank you very much for watching. We're going to do another show later on this afternoon, which we're going to do a build-up to the Premier League. We'll probably be Paul, John and Steve, but Paul's not very well at the minute, so he might not be him, he might be me. We're going to do a massive build-up to the season, carry on from this, and then obviously we're going to do the build-up on Thursday, starting on Thursday. We're going to do a opposition preview with Jack from Talk Norwich City on Wednesday. So all your pre-match stuff, the season is back, we can't wait. We can't wait to join it in with us. Don't forget, you can go and get the Jordan Henderson book right now. Hundreds and hundreds of you have already bought this. They started shipping yesterday for the standard copies. We're going to sign the signed versions this week, so hopefully from Monday they can be shipped as well. So go and get yourself a copy of that. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thank you to my wonderful guests for helping me get through this. Very much enjoyed chatting football with you. And we'll see you soon. Ta-ra.
Hey everyone, our brand new book has landed. Hendo, 10 Years a Red, premium collector's edition, the definitive Jordan Henderson collection in A4 size, 200 pages, full colour, incredible insight, in-depth knowledge and the stories of his rise from a young boy in Sunderland all the way through their academy to the Premier League, taking the captain's armband, becoming the captain and leading Liverpool to be champions of everything and beyond as well. It's got his greatest moments season on season, some incredible, unique, phenomenal custom artwork from some of the best Liverpool artists on the scene, incredible high definition photos of his best moments as well. It is an incredible Jordan Henderson collection and it fits right in your hands just about. It is a behemoth of a book. It is incredible and it is available right now. You can get it and you can learn more about the Liverpool skipper from the people who are closest to him on that journey. Friends, family, coaches, players and managers. Yes, it is Hendo, 10 Years of Red, and it is available right now on redmenmerch.com. Get involved.